I am such a fucking idiot. Oh, here we go. Come on this man's channel and watch him talk the dumbest shit daily. What a fucking moron. Oh, why are you back here, Tom? Why are you back with Tracy Grimshaw again? After having, generally praised them in the mildest terms for their, if lurid, somewhat sensible piece on Tom Sewell and the Nazis yesterday. Hey, sure, it did get a security guard assaulted, but nevertheless it seems to have pissed them off, and it didn't involve interviewing them. Well, guess what they fucking did? They went back and interviewed him. Do you know what it felt like for me to praise these cunts yesterday? These cunts have been purveyors of racist shit for fucking years. How many shonky traitors, all coincidentally of ethnic descent, went down because of these fucking dogs, Don't worry about that. Don't worry about fucking Tom Sewell. These guys and their fucking body count of fucking non-white people would be through the roof. And I somewhat praised them yesterday. What a fucking idiot. Yeah, so yesterday afternoon, Tom Sewell uploaded to his channel a chat with a current affair. And my naive little heart sank. Because not least because I just uploaded the fucking video from yesterday going, they did alright. They didn't fucking do that alright, did they? Because they thought that they'd have a chat with him. And when I watched it on there, it's just absolute white-pilled, white supremacist lunacy. And I thought, they couldn't possibly put any of that interview up. What a naive guy. Why do you listen to me? Why are you even here? I wouldn't even, so doe-eyed I am. So green behind the gills. Is that the term of phrase? Fuck me. Yeah, so not only did they have the chat with him, but they uploaded it. Most of it, mind you. Now, I haven't actually watched this yet. I have seen Tom Sewell's interview with them as he uploaded a copy of it to his Telegram. But I haven't seen their copy of it. But we're about to watch it together for the first time now. I'm just fucking stunned that we're back here, And what really occurred to me and why I really thought I'd have to talk about it again is because whilst I did sort of praise them yesterday, given that they've gone back and they've interviewed him on the second day, it really occurred to me that what they'd done was that they'd had televised entertainment for 2 days using neo-Nazis and their assault of a black man to make ad revenue. And that made me very fucking angry. It made me very angry at you, Tracy fucking Grimshaw. Tracy fucking Grimshaw. Fucking! Jeez, now I might get charged with assault. Alright, come on. Well, I'm just sorry. I'm sorry you have to listen to me make comment on things when I clearly don't know what I'm fucking talking about. Come on, let's go. Fuck! Hate fucking Tracy Grimshaw.
Hello, I'm Tracy Grimshaw. Welcome to A Current Affair. Just hours before our report on neo-Nazis last night, their leader, Thomas Sull, and another man turned up at Channel 9 in Melbourne. While being escorted out, he attacked a security guard and punched him multiple times. Today, Sull ranted in an interview with Seb Costello, who...
Don't try and make that, oh no, it was terrible in the interview that we booked in with him. Fuck you.
Told him if he wanted to put his case, he should hand himself in to police.
He's coming out again.
I said, bro, past the adrenaline line. You film past the adrenaline line. I don't care what you do.
Which line's that?
Past that adrenaline line right up there. That white line, you go up there and film. Not here. Alright?
Yeah, so now he's acting like...
Dance, monkey, dance.
Watch yourself, bro. I'm not a dance monkey. Watch yourself.
Touch me.
Hey, so since then, Tom Sewell and Jacob Hersant were both arrested yesterday sometime. Young Hersant was released, and Tom Sewell was charged with affray, reckless assault, and there was 3 charges. Okay, so he has been charged with these things. Now, I will say as well, a lot of these Nazis are very concerned with, and their supporters are very concerned with his interpretation of events, which, to be fair, none of us really know about, given that we've only got one angle of camera footage, which, he says, he was worried that young Jacob Hersant's throat was being crushed. Now, in the original footage, Jacob Hersant says, "Oh, don't fucking touch me, bro," which I would think would be a little bit hard to do if the security guard had indeed grabbed him around the throat and was, like choking him. So I was not inclined to believe it for that reason. Furthermore, I think, as I said yesterday, I think Tom Sewell was definitely on a knife's edge, and I think any kind of physical contact would have been enough for him to just, unleash into physical abuse, and that, that's really what he did. So, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. I don't know. I mean, CCTV footage could come out and it could show that the guy did, grab him around the throat or something like that. I think he would have just given him a shove and Tom just would have completely snapped. I don't think it was in his right mind, and I think most of the footage you can see of him of late doesn't suggest someone in their right mind. I know he thinks it does. But like I said yesterday, I don't think he's a very good judge of what constitutes being in one's right mind. And I think you'll see some of that in this interview here. But I just want to acknowledge, I haven't seen the full footage. I just don't think it's gonna vindicate the guy. And anyway, even if he had, say, grabbed him around there, done something like that, none of that, meant that what Tom did could be considered reasonable defence, of his friend. Anyway.
The man you've just seen here hovering above our security guard is self-described white power leader Thomas Sull. This afternoon, I spoke with Mr. Sull, and while there is an argument to deny a person like that a platform, we ultimately decided that to do so would give him more ammunition to increase his notoriety.
No, his channel has gone up by thousands over the past day or two. This has been, everything that they've done for him has been the biggest increase to his notoriety, all up, that he's received probably, certainly since the Grampians thing, although that was more just for the group generally. They've done him a great favour all up, I would say, particularly given this 1-2 punch of, no pun, of current affair coverage, and particularly with this interview.
Tonight, you'll see our conversation, although we have chosen to remove some of Mr. Sull's more offensive comments.
Oh, how noble!
Do you have anything to say to the man who spent the night in hospital last night as a result of the altercation between the two of you?
Well, I have some questions to ask you. Was that actually a security guard?
Do you have anything to say to the man who spent the night in hospital last night?
It's a very simple question, sir.
Yeah.
Was that actually...
Noticing? Can I just say, have you noticed that he went out and he got a new haircut for the occasion? He's loving this. I'll show you later on, after we're done with this, I'll show you how much he's loving this. He thinks this is his massive, this is his big Führer moment, you know what I mean? But he went out and got a haircut for this chat, I think. He's incredible. He's asking if the security guard was indeed a security guard, which, when I first heard it, I'm like, oh God, what does he know that I don't? I've since gone on to confirm that, he's a security guard. So anyway, all right, go ahead, Tom.
Security guard, because
Sure.
he wasn't licensed.
And the question I'm asking is, do you have anything to say to it?
Well, what do I have to say about the matter? I'm sure it will go to court, but it's very obvious that you guys, I've watched your show for a long time, I watched it growing up. It's very obvious that you guys are bullies.
For the record, the man is a qualified security guard. Let's try again with Mr. Sull. Okay, last opportunity. Do you have anything to say to the man who's in hospital?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely do. This individual attacked our cameraman. He lost his temper. He's unprofessional. He attacked our cameraman, and I used lawful force to stop this person from further attacking and crushing that person's windpipe.
Never mind that Mr. Sull doesn't mention that both him and his colleague were asked to leave on multiple occasions by the security guard.
Please leave
They
the
were.
building.
Many times, but 50 or more occasions, repeatedly.
Okay? Come on, let's go. Let's go, bro. Let's go. You gotta leave the building, bro. Seriously, I'm telling you right now, bro. Leave the building. Okay? I'm telling you right now.
Get your hands up the camera.
All right? Leave the building.
And that the violence was preceded by a racially charged slur.
So now he's acting
Dance, monkey, dance.
Watch yourself, bro. I'm not a dance monkey. Watch yourself.
The police would like to speak to you. Have you spoken to Victoria Police today?
Victoria Police has not called me or contacted me at all.
But police have made a public appeal urging anyone with information to come forward. We'd encourage you to make contact with them. Will you make contact with police?
I will happily speak to police. I have truth fears, no investigation. I have absolutely nothing.
Truth fears, no investigation. Yes, they were both arrested last night. Very odd, because you'd think that every Fed, every 007 in the nation would know exactly where they live. Maybe it just takes a little while for AFP and Vicpol to talk to each other. I don't know.
To hide.
Last night's incident occurred in the hours before A Current Affair aired an investigation on Sull and his group, the National Socialist Network, part of a growing number of white supremacist organisations operating in Australia.
It's a much more serious threat now than it was even 4 years ago. It has the potential to wreck families, to recruit teenagers.
Dr. Greg Barton is a terror and radicalisation expert at Deakin University. Dr. Barton, it's important we call this out rather than promote it. So how do we frame discussions about Thomas Sewell and his beliefs?
It's tricky, and we're always going to be strong.
I have a suggestion. Just get him on for chats. Get him on for chat. You see, the problem here is that they haven't. So what I just saw is a very heavily edited thing. The full interview with Tom Sewell, I don't even know if I need to show it, is him, he's fucking sig hailing at the end. He's talking about how psychological tricks were invented by the Jews in order to, emasculate Western men. just absolute lunacy. Delivered very powerfully and very well by a guy who, is a self-styled sort of Führer type figure increasingly. But a fucking oath it is. I mean, it's the only thing that he's ever talked about for years, so he's pretty good at talking about it. But nevertheless, just absolute cooked, paranoid conspiracy theorist lunacy. This show functions in the capacity of leads people to his Telegram channel. It may have done so to a certain extent on the first day, but it would particularly do so, wouldn't it, after they did the interview with him, because people would want to go and see the full interview. And, certainly, this has given Tom Sewell a huge boost around the international National Socialist and Fascist community. And yes, there is one. So it's done him a huge favour regardless. So according to A Current Affair, that's how we should, present Tom Sewell.
Struggling with this. This is pathetic bullying behaviour. It's narcissistic. It's the sign of, it's the product of weak individuals desperately wanting attention.
Yeah, they want it and they get it. Listen, if I'm a fucking tiny little YouTube channel social media presence and I consistently refuse interviews with these cunts, I talk about them, but I don't talk to them because I don't consider them. My work is usually in cleaning up their mess, telling the people affected by them how to protect themselves, protect their information, and so on and so forth. I'm usually cleaning up that mess. So it's manifestly beneath me, even if it would get me some reach online, to talk to these cunts. And I'm just a little presence. And I associate that usually online with, people like me, little presence. Ooh, you want to get bigger, so you'll just go and do the shocking thing. But I don't. Why are they doing it? They're a fucking television station.
Let's compare the two parties involved.
They already got a fucking assault from the guy. Amazing. They got a televised assault and they want more. They wanted to have a chat with him.
Here. On the one hand, there's Thomas Sewell, sought by police after this incident that followed the uttering of a racially charged slur. On the other hand, there's the man who spent last night in hospital, who's a dad who moved his kids to the suburbs of Melbourne after he himself grew up in the Caribbean. And when he's not working here as a popular member of building security, he's working part-time on his small business. Now ask yourself, which one of those sounds more Australian to you?
Well, what we
Oh dear, this is the problem. That was pretty good bit of normie whispering, hey?
saw last night was hatred, pure and simple. We saw the beast of Nazi ideology unleashed on a poor guard simply doing his job.
Dr. Devere Abramovich is the chair of the Anti-Defamation Commission, a group that fights anti-Semitism.
G'day, Devere. Yeah, Devere, the security guard got beaten up. You probably saw online, yeah? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so what we want to do is we want to talk to him today, but also to talk to you again. Are you free? Yeah, you're free? Good. Excellent. Oh, look, we'll pop along right now. Listen, we're just going to get the interview with the neo-Nazi out of the way. We'll probably pop that on before you, but then we'll come over to yours again. Yeah, no worries. All right, mate. Can always count on you. Thanks, Devere.
He says that last night is evidence that Sull's group should be banned by Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton.
I am willing to stand shoulder to shoulder with Minister Dutton when he announces that the National Socialist Network is a white supremacist terrorist group.
You're willing to stand shoulder to shoulder with Dutton, are you, mate? Oh, dear.
The security guard is on the improve. He left hospital after speaking with detectives and spent the morning with his children. Mr. Sull is still yet to speak with police today.
Our office has been in touch with Victoria Police today. We'll be handing over that entire interview with Sull to them.
You know, I'm sorry that I misled you into believing that they might have found a somewhat semi-decent, if lurid, a current affairs style way to cover Nazis, because I'm not sure that they have at all. Actually, you know what? I said I wouldn't show you this. I'll show you a little bit. This is, you know, he put this up on his Telegram channel. It's there. You know, just so as you know, I mean, you obviously you would be curious about the content of the full thing. It's mostly just shit in this cunt ranting with his new hairdo. But you know, he look at his fucking hairdo though. Cunt, you're 27. What an early onset boomer. Look at him. Look at this hairdo. Not mine. Don't worry about mine. Look at his hair. 27. This is not normal. Don't fucking recruit and groom 16-year-old boys to live like you. You're a creep. Look, so, sorry, I digress. I thought I'd show you a little bit to see what you were missing out on. Tom Sewell going off on one.
I'm speaking to you now. Mr. Sull, I'm going to put this to you. You might not like the choice of words, but I spoke to a radicalisation expert today.
I bet.
Who said whenever we frame your behaviour, we should describe it as, quote, narcissistic and the product of weak individuals wanting attention.
Absolutely. This is the classic Jewish psyop, where what they do is they don't attack the ideas. What I talk about... No, but psychology is a Jewish subject. Freud was a Jew that tried...
Yeah, just everything was Jew.
To destabilize our spirituality, to disconnect...
Yes, as the Jews said, Sigmund Freud said, you want to fuck your mums and murder your dads to make white men less, pray to Hitler less.
Connect white people from their religion, from their faith, and make them instead believe in this...
You know, Sigmund Freud wanted to get you thinking about the Oedipal complex, so you wouldn't get those little rune bags with those little LARPing Nordic things on them, and do them as a little LARPing spiritual thing. You know what I mean? And wear like French braids in your hair and other European things. Eat baguettes.
A just Jewish lie that all life is just sex and violence, and it's absolute nonsense. You know, there's no...
You're an attention seeker and you reject that type.
No, I am here to say to you that white people are being replaced in this country and across the world. Everyone knows it. The press know it, you know it, I know it, the government knows it.
You've been thinking about it a lot, I'll give you that, Tom.
The government even has a policy to replace our culture they call it diversity, they call it multiculturalism. I am here to speak the truth and say that this is a problem. We are being replaced, we are being outnumbered. There's only 20 million white Australians and we're surrounded by 5 billion non-whites on every side. Africa, Asia, India, everywhere. And they're coming here, even with Corona, we're shut down, we can't go to work or we're shut in our homes, but the floodgates are still open and they won't stop. They won't stop until there's no white people left. So it's not about me. This is very classic psychology.
Now, if you're not familiar with this fault line on what makes up the far right, I'll just briefly tell you. There's a big difference, so they say anyway, between civic nationalism and National Socialism. Civic nationalism is supposed to be really policing boundaries of a nation, keeping up hard or closed borders, but sort of asserting the idea that once you are in here and once you are a citizen, then, you know, no matter what your race, then you enjoy all the privileges of that state. And that's very much as opposed to National Socialism, which is, you know, in practice it's white supremacy, it's eugenicist, it's about policing and promoting hatred against degenerates, minorities, gay people, trans people, so on and so forth. So there's supposed to be that big fault line. Nazis will tend to accuse civic nationalists of being cucks or cucked to optics, whereas the other way around, they just sort of say they're like absolute larpers who'll never be able to capture the attention of the greater populace. And, you know, and they're probably both right in what they say of each other. But nevertheless, that's a fault line. So the reason that I say all that is because, you know, behind me stand two civic nationalists. In the blue shirt, we have Tim Wilms, the editor of the far-right publication The Unshackled, and you know, with the Proud Boys flag hanging behind him, we have Jared Searby. And if you follow my articles that I write fortnightly for Independent Australia, then you will recall me having written about Jared Searby. He was the person who was trying to visit the houses of random people, including elderly men, who he thought were Antifa simply because they were commenting on the Facebook page of an Antifa page. So civic nationalists tend to be quite weaselly when it comes to their disapproval of Nazi elements within the far right, particularly if they're if those far right elements are quite popular. But here they find it within themselves to just manage to condemn what it is that Tom Sewell did. Although particularly in the words of Jared Searby, it's extremely weaselly. You know, what he really can tell, what he really wants to do is to be his friend and to not have to say bad things about him on this little podcast chat. But I'll play them. I'll let them say their piece. Hey,
I just offered my reaction to it. What's yours?
Yeah, what was yours though? I seen the video, but I didn't get to hear what you said.
I concluded it was pretty bad what Tom did.
Doesn't look great. I couldn't hear what was said. I'm gonna have to rewatch it later. Look, it was a nice cross. It wasn't bad. He cuffed him behind the neck and he clocked him straight. It was a nice cross. I'll give him.
Yeah, I don't think that Tim Wilms is talking about whether it's a nice cross that he did to him, Jared.
Well, you're assessing it from like a fighting technique, which is not the context there. This was not some sort of like fight in the gym.
Context, like I'm just gauging the cross, and that was not a fair cross.
I'm just gauging the cross.
You know what I mean? Like you can't punch security guards out the front of work and get away with it. So I don't think it's going to go very well for him.
And if you're a self-proclaimed National Socialist and you're punching an African man in the face,
Channel 9, that's a hard sell. Yeah, that's definitely a hard sell.
Well, yeah, it's a hard sell. That's pretty much the best that Jared manages to come up with. You know, how do you walk that tightrope of not siding with the Nazi in public whilst you know, also you know, managing to not offend them. You know, this is the unique position that people on the far right often find themselves in. And I mean, really, Tim Wilms, editor of The Unshackled, would love to be friends with Tom Sewell, if just sort of marginally in private. He's been to the Lad Society gym back in the day. He thought they were on good terms. But as Tom Sewell has become more of a megalomaniac and more, feeling more and more fury by the day, by the month, he has started to, he's basically started to say, well, Tim Wilms is a degenerate because Tim Wilms is gay. Tom Sewell, however, is undeterred by the criticism of his far-right civic nationalist colleagues and, posted this mild-mannered bit of thoughtful reflection yesterday saying, "They cannot beat me in a physical confrontation. They cannot beat me in an intellectual confrontation. The snake fears the sword of truth. Do not attempt to untie the knot of lies. Instead, use the sword and cut straight through it. Hail victory! We will not be replaced." So he's really fucking on one at the moment. Can't wait for the next chapter. Actually, you know what? I can wait for the next fucking chapter. I just hope he stays. I just hope I never hear from him again. However long ago, resigned to the fact that we'll be hearing from this cunt and his gaggle of 16-year-old children for a fair long time now. See you next time. Hopefully next time isn't too soon.